And Grandpa was already here, he'd already come over, so he went second class, Grandma went steerage, so she was sick the entire time. You know what steerage is? Bottom of the boat. So my Aunt Bearda was so sweet, she went up there and schmoozed with rich people and got their food they weren't eating, and brought it down to Grandma. So that was cool. So Dad grew up, my family immigrated from New York City to, of course, Wisconsin, Minnesota, all those areas where all the Scandinavians live, you know. And then they made it to LA, and my grandpa got a job in the oil fields. This is some of the earlier pieces of work that were done by my dad. This is San Clemente, definitely 60s modern, kind of fun stuff. And he was an icon in San Clemente. He did over 200 houses there, 3 custom tracks. This is my family home. This is the last house I lived in. It's been remodeled. You can imagine it was a little bit different. There was a piece of glass right here, went down to a little stream that went inside the front door. This was the bathroom. This is my sister's room. My dad thought it was not important to have doors between our bedrooms, so we just had partitions of closets. So I guess as teenagers we didn't need privacy. So there it is. Anyway.
And where is that again?
That's on Calacita. That's Calacita. Russell Stationers has been there for 3 generations. I used to work for them in the blueprint office in the back. This is still downtown Del Mar, kind of cool. Look at that 60s kind of neat look to it. It's really popular. They never are without rentals here. This is the most highly rentable spot in Del Mar. Dad did provincial stuff. This is actually the house of the Dival's Furniture family home. They used to be a dynasty in town with a funeral parlor. And I went to school with Melinda Dival, and that's her house. So Dad did a lot of work in San Clemente, and also what caused the boom, and my dad did so well down there, we had the end of the World War II, it was like the 40s, 50s, and the beginning of the Korean War. So there's a lot of Marines who were right by Camp Pendleton. So you had people needing apartments, and you had officers that could afford a little more, and then custom homes. So many times people came to our office and they were actually Marine Corps individuals. Hopalong Cassidy, William Boyd, did a house for him. I got to meet Hoppy one day when I was a kid. It was so cool. What a wonderful guy. This particular building is one, what started my dad with this kind of wild post and beam stuff was the Chamber of Commerce building, and it put him on the map. And it's right there as you come up the hill from the south end of San Clemente, or north end of San Clemente, sorry. Las Palmas School's right down there, when it was there. As you know, San Clemente was an icon for mission-style Spanish, so Dad's architecture kind of popped up. This stuff is moving forward to his more current stuff. So, as he grew up in Hollywood, my grandfather was also a pretty well-known designer. Grandpa got work, as I said, in the oil fields. He did work for Lionel Barrymore, and it was kind of fun to see letters from my grandpa. Recommending my grandpa. He's also a wood carver, and as you know, if you made the tour, this is my dad's models. He did teach model building to everybody in the office, and the last person that got model building was the man on the camera here, my friend Hunter Wells, who used to date my sister Julia, and he's in my office working, but he learned to build models and does a fine job. When the family moved, this famous truss house on Alta Vista, you may have all seen that. It's still there. It's fabulous. Kathleen and I worked on the deck down below. I mean, we had just simple carpenters working for us. And then one year, because we had this really cool iron fireplace right here, it got so bloody hot that all of a sudden the TNG caught on fire. So the fire truck had to show off the ladder, put out the fire on the tongue and groove. So we learned the hard way that you can't put the nice design Chris Abel iron fireplace right on the wood. So, we learn by, our mistakes. There's some of my dad's models, which are so charming. I don't know if that's the Thunderbird house or not, but it kind of looks like it. But moving on, anyway, we moved to Laguna Beach in '37. Everybody in the family was in the arts. Pop was a wood carver, antique dealer. Mums was a wood carver and manager of the Festival of Arts. My dad was doing the same thing, doing artwork and wood carving. If you went to the tour, you know that we were all together here. There's 5 generations of wood carvers. My dad, when I was born in '47, moved to San Clemente. That's what started that San Clemente career and started that postmodern look. Later in about the '70s, when Mom and Dad split up, a young man named Jim Cummings just fell in love with my dad's work, I think because he saw the Chamber of Commerce building down there. Commissioned him to do 4 houses. They're all on top of Alta Vista. So we go to Alta Vista. Jim's house is still there, but they stuck with it because it was a box beam kind of affair. It took a lot of maintenance. There's Dad's condos there, a nice place. His offices are right next door. There they are, right. You know where they are, right there.
Yeah. Taboo.
Taboo. Sandy and Dad lived here with the kids and walked out, and Dad went to work. So, anyway, just the other day I had a client call me, and sort of course he goes, "Are you Gregg Abel?" I said, "Yeah, I am." I said, "Is your dad Chris Abel?" I said, "Yeah, well, I have a disabled house." I thought, "You mean it has a leak and some dry rot?" He said, "Yeah, I'll come and see you." So this work, even though we all love it, and Morris knows that, and all of us here, when you do this exposed wood here, it takes a lot of care. Case in point, you wish that the real estate agent or the manager of the Lumberyard Mall and the Forest Center Mall would just, once in a while, fix some of the dry rot, but you can't convince the guy, Anyway, and that's what some of Dad's better work here on Laguna Beach. But the homes at the top up there, these are some of Dad's best work. This is a Matthews residence on Beach Road, which is a beautiful Hawaiian icon. There's some other ones here. You can't miss my dad's style. You really can't. Quite nice stuff. He probably spent 25 years in San Clemente, and then when he was up here, he designed till the day he died. He had a heart condition, expected to survive, and he didn't make it. But he worked to the end of his life, and he's married to Sandy, and I have 2 wonderful sisters, Julia and Chandra. And this man, Jim Cummings, put my dad in a map of Laguna. He mentored a lot of us in Laguna Beach. There are so many people in Laguna Beach that work for him. As I mentioned, my cousin Jack Chambers worked for him. Rand Hughes is working with me now. I was 14, he was 15. We have, I have Doug Snow, Tim Wilkes, Jack Weston, Gary Whitfield, Dave Coulter, Blair Ballard, and oh yeah, a guy named Mark Abel. Now Mark's not here right now, but he's not a relation, but he has a brother named Greg. So I've actually talked to myself on the phone. So, pretty interesting. My career started in '61. When I was 14, worked with my dad. And yes, we used to use T-squares first. Remember those? Remember those, Morris? God bless you, man. And drafting machines. And and I trained my dad. I was kind of a detail guy for him. And when I was 16 or 17, I kind of bored working in the office. So I thought, I want to run construction. So I want to do construction and design. So case in point where my design construction business started. And to this day, it's what I do. And one of the nice pieces of history is one of my first projects, kind of an important one. I met this girl named Kathleen Riley, and she had a little house down the street here, built in 1917, and truly it was 19 by 17. That's what it was. And 2 garages down below that you couldn't even stand up in. We had a friend of ours from Austria who was 6'4", come to stay with us. Every morning you'd hear him bump his head. You stand up and go, ouch! Or shy stuff, he spoke German. So. But anyway, more of my dad's stuff here. And I met Kathleen and designed this little remodel for us, and we've been together for 35 years. So that was the start of my relationship with Kathleen. And I do thank her tonight for doing what she did here, because I kind of told her, I'm changing up the program, there's more people coming, and she worked all day long to kind of get it ready for you guys. So, Kathy, wherever you are,
thank you very much, Kathy.
My architecture is kind of traditional, and right now we're still looking at Dad's. It's okay, so Hunter, pick it up, dude. But I love you. That's what you're here for. It's my dad's work too. It's okay. Anyway, back to Dad. I like arts and crafts. Here's my house here. And some of my favorite people are Rennie McIntosh in Scotland. I like Bousset in France. I like Christophe Stickley, of course, and Green and Green. And then there's this guy, Frank Royd Light, what's his name? Something like that. Definitely inspired my work because I like his detail. And with my family legacy, with all the art and the people that were part of our life, everybody always embraced us as artists and told us, look, it's important that you pay attention to detail. Every house has to be unique, And I like to embrace all the other artists that I know, whether it's a bloody glass person, a wood carver, a special tile maker, you know, it's one of my contemporary ones. This is actually Steve Esslinger's house. Remember Steve Esslinger, who basically had the Laguna Terrace Parks, just passed away in Capistrano? That was the house he had here in Laguna. That's the Mettler residence right there on the point. That's the Caulfield residence. That's a car dealer fellow from New Zealand who brought antique glass from New Zealand to make this house. This is the Darros residence, the 3 Arch Bay, right across from the office. So there's a plethora of things we did. Kathleen oftentimes